So welcome to this Urban Tango Nights Talks, Ep.4, and today I'm joined by Tango FFS's Wayne Rozier. So welcome, Wayne.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah. So
in lockdown.
In lockdown, yeah. Well, when we first decided to do these interviews, which was last year, and it's just taken us a while to actually get around to doing them, we thought it would be sat in a pub or cafe or on a sofa and just having a chat with somebody, rather than, well, you're the furthest we've interviewed away so far, and I think Reading's about 180 miles from here, so it's Fleet.
Yeah, Fleet for me. So we can still do the pub bit.
Do you want to explain how Tango FFS came into being?
It evolved. It evolved from I was starting to learn tango. I was enjoying it. I'd already been dancing for many years, doing jive and other things, and I tried various dances, moved across into tango, and it kind of clicked. I kind of got it. I went through a number of different teaching couples to arrive at the ones that were right for me at that time, and then found others. But every time I moved on, I was so frustrated with the music. Tango music is great, don't get me wrong. I love traditional music. It took me a while to get into it, but I really wanted to dance to music that I'd grown up with, music I was more familiar with. So I wanted to start playing non-traditional as well as some traditional, so some modern electro tangos and totally different music to tango, in a sort of practica environment, not in a formal milonga, just in a very informal environment. To that end, I searched and found myself a hall and set it up using just domestic hi-fi and went from there.
Okay. So what type of music did you want to... I'm assuming you're from the sort of same generation of you grew up in the 70s with sort of Pink Floyd and that sort of music.
I did. Yeah, I'm not talking about that sort of music to necessarily dance to it. It's too extended in terms of length. But at that time, I had already got into Goten Project and Otrasaris and bands like that, but also recognised some pop music that was still very suitable for dancing. I mean, and when I say pop music, I mean at the time a lot of Ciroc dance, if I can use the brand name, and other jive places played the occasional kind of slower beat, more suitable for sort of mambo walks in that sort of crossover. But that music was just as suitable for playing for an all-on tango night. So that's where I started. I didn't have a great understanding of tango music. I hated Milonga music at the time, just hated it. I couldn't even get the dance right. That came later, and then I realised that there's some sort of good modern electro swings that are very suitable for Milonga. They've actually got candombe rhythms in there. And I started to realise that there's a lot more music in the world other than just Argentinian tango. And then I started to find Russian tango and French tango and Italian and German and across the world. And then much later, people started introducing me to really exotic tangos with strange timings from India and Turkey. Yeah. So FFS evolved over the years from just a practica place to me bringing in teachers, UK-based ones, but also visiting touring teachers as well. And we just got bigger and bigger doing that. And that was all done in a local community hall in Fleet, Church Crookham. And it kind of grew. But something happened. People started to move away. A lot of friends that I knew went over to Germany or France. Some went over to Portugal. And people just moved around, and we never really built up a cadre, because unlike you guys, I don't teach tango formally to any level apart from introducing people to the concept and then pointing them at teachers elsewhere. I struggled to actually make a community, a stable community of many hundreds, and keep that going. So we're always in low numbers, but that was kind of okay. It was a Friday night, fun night, practica. But then I started to do my Saturdays.
So was that Papa Caliente, or was that?
No, that was Saturdays when it was still Tango FFS. We did those in Fleet. I started to do was it a Tuesday, Wednesday night dance with traditional music in a local wine bar. those were great fun because that was very low price entry. No freebies at all provided, not the usual food and wine and drink that's given away at Milongas. It was very much more like in Argentina, you walked in, you paid £3 to dance, and your drinks and your food were served by the waitresses from the bar. And they would literally walk across the dance floor just like they do in Argentina, with no reference at all for the dancers, because there was no space to walk around the edge anyway. It was tiny space, but a really good fun place until the owner sold it and it became a different kind of wine bar, and we couldn't do tango in there anymore, which is a shame. But meanwhile, that's when I started Papa Caliente. When was that? That was 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe.
It's probably longer than that. I think we've been doing it.
Yeah, I've really got to think back to when we did it. So Nick was over here. Nick and Deanna were over here. They'd done a weekend with me teaching in Fleet. Nick wanted to go and buy a pipe, so I took him over to Reading, where I know there's a good tobacconist in the arcade. I don't know if it's still there. I think it might have gone. Nick got what he wanted, but on the way back, we walked past the church that I had worked next to for 6 months when I was working for the Rural Payments Agency. And I'd walked past this place hundreds of times thinking it was derelict because it was always locked up. And we walked past it and we realised someone had just gone in there. And Nick said, "Can we have a look in that church?" Because he's into old English. And so I said, "Yeah." And we just opened the doors and went, "You could do a milonga in here." And that was kind of hit us. And we went, "You could, couldn't you?" So we just looked left, looked right. We saw some stairs, and we went up the stairs and tapped on the door to the office and said to the lady behind the glass doors, "Hi, is this place available for private rentals?" And she said, "Yeah." So we spoke to her, and that's where it began. And that was in the summer. And so and that was July, August. I did the first one in November. I don't know, was it 2000? And must have been 16, 17, something like that.
I think by 16, I think we must have been to one in 2017. For those who haven't been to Papa Caliente, it's really worth going to. It's based in a fairly large church in the centre of Reading. Park in the Oracle car park. It's the easiest one to park in for long periods of time and easiest to get to if you're following the sat nav. But the inside of it is absolutely incredible. They have the main nave and then not a side chapel, but I suppose a side nave where you have people sitting, and it's just absolutely amazing in there. What was it like on your first night there? What type of music were you playing when you first ran your first Papa Caliente?
Yeah, so that's a very good, interesting question, if you like. Like all things, they evolve. So when I first started doing Papa Caliente, I took the formula from Tango FFS, which was about a third traditional and 2/3 non-traditional. So that would be a third electro, tango and modern tango and contemporary, 1/3 super traditional stuff from the 30s and 40s, and 1/3 alternative. Then the other bit, the other 10%, if you like, that was in there, just tiny things, just way out wacky. I always put something in which is very different. So that was kind of the formula. I wanted to take that, what I used to do at Tango FFS, which worked really well, where I'd always projected the playlist on the ceiling in Fleet. It's a very different atmosphere. It's kind of, how can I describe it? It's very surreal, the Fleet venue, with the lighting and the projectors.
Yeah, is that the same one that we taught in? Yeah, that's a really good venue. I really like that venue. Just again, it's
great
not as
front
big
wooden floor.
it's a beautiful wooden floor. It's got this sort of vaulted ceiling, so when you look up at the projections, it sort of encompasses you, which is really nice. And again, you've got a sort of really nice sitting area and an area for dancing, so you can. It's not like a Milonga where you sit around the outside.
Around the edges, no.
And you can only speak to the person on your right or left. It's far more. What's the word am I looking for?
You've got it snug. You've got an intimate, snug social area, totally separated away from the dance floor. So the conversations that are happening off the dance floor don't interfere with what's going on the dance floor. So you get two different zones of sound. And I like that in Fleet, and I found exactly the same for Papa Caliente with the seating area. You can still sit around the edges if you want to, with a few seats we put around there, but the rest of it happens in a sort of social seating area, is away from the dance floor. I like that, the way it works in Fleet. I like the way it works then in Papa Caliente, St Lawrence's. But when I transported that sound, if you like, that form of DJing into Papa Caliente, it didn't quite work. Lots of people that came there wanted less traditional, and I still get that now. They still want less traditional, so I'm playing probably about a quarter traditional. There's a few people that want more. There's always people that want more traditional, and there's always people that want no traditional. It's working that balance. How do you actually do it? I think it's got to have some traditional, even if that traditional is modern copies, if you like, modern karaoke of the traditional, modern orchestra's take on it. You still need something which is tango, pure tango DNA in there. But I found that the recordings from the 30s died in the church. No matter how good that sound system was, that when I first started, I was using only the church's sound system. It was a superb system, but within that space, the thinness of tango music, if you like, the range that had been recorded just dies, and anything that was pre-28 is just terrible.
Yeah, so it's because I've always found that with especially the early tango music, you have very high frequencies. You get none of the bass which you need to fill a large space.
It depends if it's pre-28 or post-28, because you've got the electric microphone being used in Argentina then. It was being used in 26 in the rest of the world, but Argentina was a bit slow in switching over to it. Financial reasons and investment on various kit that they already had. But anyway, it meant that I suddenly found I was restricted from some of the more classical tango tracks from the 30s that just didn't have the right feel in that space. But playing really late stuff, 60s, 50s tangos do work. And some really powerful late 40s ones as well, if they're on good recording. But because I was using a better sound system, I think, but in that space and the reverb that you get in the church, it needs much bigger and better recordings. Also, the people that were coming along, suddenly I was no longer. Fleet feels like it's. I hesitate. It's a bumfuck nowhere place. People complain, I can't get to Fleet, it's too far. Reading, people will travel to. It's in the centre. People will come from the West Country. They come from the other side of London. They come from the South Coast. They come as far as Manchester, Leicester. I've had people coming all over to get to it. So suddenly we've got a different group of dancers, and they're coming for the space, and they're coming for the excitement of different music and a different feel. So therefore, the challenge to me as a DJ is to find music and not keep playing the same old stuff. There are some classics and favourites that people want, but always trying to find some new exciting music, even if that is going back through the archives, digging up gems from nowhere and going, do you know what? That's a nice piece of psychedelia. I think I'll play that. It's important. People want that. I'll go off on a slightly separate topic here, add to it. Everything I play, I feel I can dance.
Yeah.
If I play something that I feel either I don't want to dance, or I feel it's too difficult for me to dance, then I won't play it. I also feel sometimes I can play a track that is really, I do enjoy dancing it, it's super difficult, but I won't play it. Because it's kind of, I think sometimes that might be self-indulgent. I'm playing it for me.
This actually comes around to something. I don't really count myself as a tango DJ or anything. I do play music to at our events. But the two best pieces of DJing advice I've been given is one by you and one by Nathan of Stokey. And Nathan's advice was, if in doubt and you're stuck, just play a piece of music that you would want to dance to next, because you can guarantee somebody else. And then the next piece of best advice I had was from you, which was make sure you know all your music.
Don't play stuff that you've never played before at home. Don't just pick, oh, there's a track there. Or if someone asks you to play a track that they've brought on a stick, never. But the other piece of advice I would always give to every DJ is your mindset has to be, it's a party.
Yeah.
The temptation, and this is, and I've seen this and others, and I've seen it myself sometimes. You start on that curve, you're playing raw, exciting music, and then you go, let's give them a rest, let's bring it down. And you play something really peace and calming, and then it gets another piece of calming music, and you're tempted to play a third and a fourth, and suddenly you've lost all the energy in the night. You can play those pause pieces, and you can play 2, 3, and that's it. You've got to come out of it. You've got to build it up quick and take it to somewhere where they can have some fun, and then calm them down again. But once you start playing really, really slow pieces, Libedinsky, say, DOS or stuff like that, it gets maudling very quickly. I think Fido music's beautiful. I play a couple of Fido tracks. That third Fido can kill the night. So I'll play 2 Fidos and then a Zumba, Zamba, to bring it up a little bit of folk music, just to give a bit of it up before we then move into something else later on.
Yeah, what I particularly liked about your events, and this is particularly on view at Fleet and at when you do the Reading Tango Festival in around October time, which I've been to the last 2, is when you have the playlist up, because it means that if you're dancing and suddenly a song comes on, you go, oh, this is really good. You can just look up and see what it is.
What it is, yeah. Well, I have no problem of people seeing what I'm playing, or Shazamming even what I'm playing. Some DJs get very upset when other people Shazam. I shamelessly use it if I hear a DJ playing a nice piece of music. I go,
yes, so do we as well.
Yeah, well, as a DJ, you go somewhere and you hear some music someone's playing, and you go, yeah, I know where you got that from. I discovered that myself a few weeks back, or months, or whenever. You hear music doing the round, that's absolutely fine. What's important is not the tracks that you play, it's the order. I know it's trite, but really it's the order that you play them, the night that you play them, with the audiences that are there, with the temperature and the light that you've got. Everything is a factor in the music that you're choosing to play.
Yeah.
The problem every DJ has is venues that are multi-roomed. It's when you're playing a theme, you've got something going, you've got a groove going, and people come and they have a look in, and it doesn't hit them like that. And they're not going to wait 2 or 3 tracks as that groove changes into something they want. They just go back to the room they just came from, and then they pop back in an hour later, and you're in a completely different groove, and they go, oh, it's not where I want, and they go off again. People have to, when you're doing tango, people have to have the patience to wait for a tanda, even if as a DJ and you play an alternative, the music doesn't come in tandas and cortinas, but you're still playing it in groups. You're still playing sets of music, 2 or 3 tracks that fit before you move into the next groove. Yeah. So you have to, people have to be patient, like with all tango, because you're creating on the fly.
Yeah.
Even though I've got a playlist, I'm still moving it around.
Yeah. That's one of the that actually resonates quite strongly with me. This is the first time I'd been invited to do some DJing. It was the Milonga Solidere charity event in Bristol, and we were doing the small alternative New Ava room, and there was a sort of bigger traditional room somewhere else. And one woman walked in, and you could see her being physically repulsed by the music, because you could hear her go, ugh.
I know. It's a strange world. Alternative tango music appeals to, I think, 2 kinds of dancers: beginners that have not yet grown to like traditional tango, and more advanced dancers who either never liked traditional or do like it, but also want to go other places. They want to go beyond it because they've come to recognise that whilst there is a variety of stuff in tango music, the formulation is fairly similar across the whole spectrum, the way tango music is arranged. And people sometimes want to just go beyond that, beyond the constraints of the 5 phrases of a tango track.
Okay. Were you a DJ before you got into the tango, or did the DJing develop after and you have to learn along as you went?
I did cut my teeth, not DJing per se, but doing the lights and roadieing for a DJ when I was at North Stash Poly many decades ago. So yeah, free entry into the students' disco, be there early, set it up, be there at the end to break it down, but also playing around with the lights and also getting the next vinyl 45 lined up for the DJ as well that was up there. So there'll be 2 of us on lights, one at any one time operating them and one usually doing a bar run to bring it back. So yes, not DJing, but working with people in music. Yeah.
Okay. So so did you have you ever sort of dabbled in the actual sort of, I don't want to call it proper DJing but sort of doing like the mixing of DJing where you...
Yeah, so I know what you're saying. I've actually done some work on music production and editing music, but that's post-production editing, also recording and stuff like that. So I've done some work on that. I do a lot of my own cutting and editing and layering of stuff in an editing suite. I do not mess around on the night with effects, playing in a little bit of an extra instrument or so, or blending tracks together. I don't think alternative tango as rave. That there is a whole genre of rave tango, and sort of or what they call the sort of the proper neo DJing tangos, which is continuous music, no stops, and you can have 40 minutes or so of track after track after track, all blended into each other, with someone maybe even playing a little bit of keyboard along behind it to give you some tango rhythms. I don't like that. I like to play what an artist recorded without too much interference. There's a couple of tracks that I have totally rearranged, but most of the time I don't change the music. I might cut it a bit, but as far as I'm concerned, you're playing a piece of music and it's got a beginning, a middle bit, and an end. Tango tracks for me have to have an end, that Kodak moment at the end, and you break the embrace, and remaking the embrace is all part of a tango night. It's part of doing a tanda. I'm not into the trance state that some DJs want to promote. That's fine. They can do it. I don't want to do that. And I don't see many people here who want that. There are some, but I don't see enough to make that work as a sort of a viable commercial. Well, not even commercial, just pays for itself kind of night. You need enough people.
Yeah, because I sometimes do mix tracks together, like sort of blend one into the next track.
Oh, verses, verses
but hardly ever. But it'll be only like maybe 3 times in a whole like 4-hour evening where I sort of just do something like that. And it's normally if I'm playing a track like something like I and Audi, which goes on for 6 minutes, you can sort of find something in a similar key, and then when he goes into like the dropped part where he's just playing chords, if you just start imposing somebody else's melody over that just to blend it through, just to get it moving on a bit. But
I know what you mean.
But when you go on for sort of have like a 25-minute piece that the DJs mixed together, you're sort of dancing along to it, and you're going, well, is this going to be the end, or do I need to save a bit of energy for 5 minutes time? And it sort of disrupts the flow of your actual dancing, because even if something is blended together well, there is distinct sections which is really difficult to sort of get yourself out. You might be getting into a mood when you're dancing with somebody, and then suddenly you're somewhere totally different with it, and sometimes you just get a bit bored after sort of 10 minutes of dancing with the same person. So
Yeah.
You might want to dance with them later in the night, but like,
well, that's another difference between an alternative venue and a traditional venue. Is if you want to be simplistic, you start a tanda with someone in a traditional venue, you're going to finish the tanda with that same person.
Yeah.
Okay. You're licensed. It's licentious. Not strictly, because you can still break it, but the assumption is you are licensed to go through that whole thing until somebody actually does break the contract. In an alternative setting, every dance is by permission, because you're going to break after each dance, and as long as there is no cortina, if it's a continuation and you're blending your tandas together, every dance then becomes by permission. So it's permissive, and you go into the next one, or you say thanks very much, and that's it. And there's no hard feelings on the thanks very much, because someone's got to say enough at some point, and that can be after one dance, 2, 3, or 4. Generally, somewhere between 2 and 4.
Yeah.
And that's how I actually DJ my music, in couplets. I don't DJ in 3s. I do unless I'm doing a waltz. Waltz tandas are 3. My other tandas, I'll do 3 couplets, and the first 2 are very distinctive. They fit together. The third track takes a different curve, but does stay in the same genre as the first 2, or overlaps it, but it forms a bridge to the next one. And then the next 2 are totally different, but coming out of it, the curve that I'm following. So you'll hear as a dancer, oh, I could break there. That is so different. Or I could carry on and do 2 more, or do 2 more after that. So it makes the evening, allows you to get around more partners. It means that if there's an imbalance on the night, people are sat waiting less. There's nothing worse than having to sit at a 4-track tanda, and then not get a partner for the next 4-track tanda, and then you're 8 tracks later, you're going,
that's 25 minutes.
Yeah, get me coat. It can be quite an impact on your mojo.
I suppose the next question is, since you have a bandolion over your left shoulder, next, is that a new thing of becoming a musician, or have you played instruments in the past?
No, I'm pretty bad on instruments. Fingers don't necessarily do the right things when they should be. I, like most kids, we all got given a recorder or a tin whistle or something to drive our parents crazy, and then suddenly that recorder disappears. I don't know why, but they all magically disappear. I nagged my mother many moons ago when I was like 14, 15 for a guitar. I got a guitar. I did try playing it, and I could do a couple of Sabbath tracks in the end of it, but again, it was something I didn't persist with. When I was in my late 20s, and I had my own property, then I bought a drum kit. And yes, I started to play drums, and I really enjoyed playing drums. Neighbours might not have enjoyed it so much, but I did like drums. But my drums became kind of soft. I wasn't in a rock drums. I was into J.J. Cale kind of sound, and John Cougar Mellencamp, the drummers that they use, which is a much quieter, often brushes.
Okay.
Yeah, sort of. And it is very much an accompaniment instrument in that. But I did play some rock stuff. I enjoyed drumming, ZZ Top style. That's just superb fun. That then went, and music just disappeared as far as anything more than just buying albums for many years. It was, life happened, kids and work and stuff took over. So my music interest only really restarted once I started looking at alternative tango music and researching that. And the hunt for alternative music leads you into all sorts of strange places. I can spend whole evenings diving around hundreds and hundreds of tracks looking for something and find nothing at all that piques my interest. And then another night I can be searching, and I hit up on a performer who might be a backing vocalist for somebody, or a guitarist for someone on something. I get they're in the credit list, and I go, I like that sound, let me do some research into them. And then suddenly I might just hit a whole seam of just tremendous good music. 20 odd tracks in one night is my record. that was a long night. It was kind of like till 3 a.m. And I just found a seam of pure gold and gems, and I just mined it, downloaded a load of stuff, and then cleaned it up the way I wanted it. But in terms of playing music, that got left by Nick a couple of years ago. It's the one that he has here when he's performing. He doesn't like to travel with it. He's got his proper ones at home. It's about 20 odd years old. Sorry, 90, 20 odd years. God knows how old. I mean, look, I can lift that up for you. So, you know, these buttons are all refitted many moons ago. This is all loose. It's not wired up at the moment.
Yeah.
You have these little screws to tighten down to actually keep the air in, so you can play it and make sound. The keys are all over the place. They're old, new, refitted. So this one Nick got and has rebuilt it. It needs new straps on it. It needs all sorts of things, but it's still good fun. He's left it with me. He's left me some music, and I am practicing with it. And because the only way to keep it tuned is by playing it. So left hand is coming on, right hand is a lot slower. But the left hand on the sort of single key stuff, I'm learned Nadar. The chords are coming on. For that's why I bought the keyboard. The piano is so that I can study chord theory and then transpose it onto the bandoneon.
Have you found that you sort of got a different view of tango music since you started picking up and playing that thing?
No, actually no. Funny enough, you get there's a bit of an insight into it, yes. And the technique of how you hit the keys or release the keys, the mindset that you have that I want something short, so I'm hitting the keys, but I'm actually releasing. I'm playing to release, not playing to compress the keys. I'm not talking about the actual the wind part of it itself, but how you're depressing. So that is interesting, and it allows you, or it's allowed me to listen to certain performers with an appreciation of what they're doing, the techniques that they're deploying. But in terms of, has it changed my insight to the music? No, not at all.
So since Nick left there, how did you get to know Nick and Deanna? Because obviously you've been out to their Tango on the Rocks in Colorado, and
interesting story. So, Nick and Deanna, I came across when they had done I think it was a teacher's retreat video of them dancing to a piece of classical music, which also is a tango track, and it moves between the two. So it's a long show dance, but it was done in an intimate audience in this mountain retreat place. Saw that, and I just went, oh, it's just wow. That's just wow. This was before the Hendrix one that they're famous for came out.
Oh yeah, that's the one that I originally saw and thought.
Yeah. So this was before the Hendrix one, and then I went, I'm gonna have to look these people up. So I looked up on what they did and where they taught, found their website, Natural Tango, and how they did stuff, and I just dropped them an email saying, listen guys, if ever you're touring in England, please drop me a line. I'd love to put you on. So this was early days in their sort of international touring, and we got talking and we agreed they'd come over at some point, and I booked them summertime weekender, Tango FFS in Fleet, put the tickets up for sale, and like it sold out in 24 hours. I had people begging me to let them in, and I was holding the numbers down, and it's really difficult when people really want to enjoy them. And Nick and Deanna were saying, no, you can put as many people on as you like, and I'm going, no, there is a limit. There's a limit to the space in the room, and there's a limit to the attentiveness of getting around and dealing with everyone. So it's difficult to balance numbers like that. So that's how I got to know them, and then we put on a Milonga, and then I did my usual thing in the evening. Nick then commented the next day on how I put the tandas together, realised I was doing them in couplets, and said, I really like the way you DJ. I'd love you to come to Denver and DJ for us at our festival. Can't book you in for the next one because we've already got our international DJ booked in for the alternative. But can I book you in for the one the following year? So that meant April, 2 years away. I went, yeah, sure, go for it. You know, it's a long way away. So I made this commitment to go out there in 18 months' time. And I did. And wow, what a venue, what a city, what a community of dancers. And I've been back there several times now, both for them and for another organizer that runs another festival, the Tango on the Rocks. The Natural Tango Festival no longer runs in Denver. Deanna stopped it 2 years ago. We're now going to do a Natural Tango Festival in Reading in August. Lockdown permitting.
Yeah.
Got some great teachers there. But I've been out there several times to the Natural Tango Festivals, DJed to the community out there, danced with their community, gone to the various venues that are out there in Boulder, Gustavo, Neviera, and Chisenad, teach up in Boulder. So that's Nick and Deanna's teachers. That's the teachers to the teachers, and the level of dancing that you get is awesome. The level of appreciation of music is just fantastic. You can throw anything at the Denver community dancers. I don't. I throw a lot at them, but not everything. But they appreciate it, and it's just a fun vibe place to DJ. So yeah, I'll go back there, and I'll go back there again after our festival here. We finish our festival the Tuesday after the bank holiday, August. And then Nick and I fly out. No, we finish on the Monday. We fly out on the Tuesday to Denver for the festival out in Denver.
Wow.
Again, lockdown permitting. Well, that's my one holiday of the year. My one personal holiday a year is I go out to Denver and have fun. It's a great dance community, good blues dance as well as tango dance community.
So it's obviously you've got the Natural Tango Festival, which is Deanna actually organising that, and you're assisting with it, and
yeah. So I'm kind of like the UK organizer. Deanna is the engine behind it all. She is the artistic inspiration. She says what teachers we're having and who we're having, what music we're having, when and what and how, and I just make it happen here in the UK. We've got our organizer, Deanna's right-hand lady, Veronica Kruta, who teaches Pilates and yoga. She's also coming over to help organise, and we'll be doing classes in Pilates for tango dancers. She brings in other people for body workshops. Karin, as you know, from Germany. I thought the workshop she did for you guys on the osteopathy workshop was amazing.
Yeah,
so much insight.
I was trying to find out for the past 2 years, I've organised the Welsh International Tango Festival, and Nick and Deanna have been our main event for that, or headline act. And then last year, which was our second one, Deanna is working with Karin Gerhardt, who's an osteopathist, I suppose, from Germany, and she came over and they did a tango osteopathy workshop, which I missed because I was setting up tables in the other room. But
you missed a cracker, mate. I found muscles that I never knew existed in my body. It's just incredible stuff.
Yeah.
So we've got her coming. We've got the lovely Letitia Plans coming from Madrid to do her gyrokinesis stuff. So that's all kind of like the peripheral, not tango, but supporting tango stuff. And then we've got, of course, Nick and Deanna will be teaching some super classes. We have Alexander Wood and Guillermo Torrens teaching their locals, their kind of local support. Alexander also went to the school that we're doing this at, the Abbey School. And then we're hopefully bringing in Rino Freni and Graciela Poverenti from Sicily. Awesome couple. I fell in love with them at the Tango Festival in Denver 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. He's a great DJ as well, and he will be doing DJing. I think we got him DJing on the Friday night.
Yeah. Because that couple and Nick and Deanna are also doing the 2 points of view workshop, aren't they?
That's the other little bonus thing where it's a concept which was introduced out in Denver. It's a natural tango thing, and we're bringing that concept also to work the one in Reading, where you get two couples teaching the same movements, if you like, the same concepts, but from their own perspectives, and they will overlap. They will complement. They're not disjoint. They kind of do overlap, but they're from two separate viewpoints of the same moves. We're doing each of those workshops. It's the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The last workshop of each of the days, the one before the Milonga, if you like, is given by both teachers. That's going to be amazing, just amazing.
Hopefully the lockdown will have ended by then, or will be.
Oh, I just so hope so. Because we've got people coming from Italy to come to this festival. So yeah, it'll be a disaster if we couldn't get them here.
Yeah. So our bookings are currently suspended, are they?
I've not suspended bookings. I'm not promoting at the moment. It doesn't seem sensible. We've got a bunch of bookings in, but because everything's done through PayPal, and now I might have to refund everybody.
Yeah.
I don't want to have like 100 people all booked and I've got 100 people to refund, because I'll be seriously out of pocket if I have to do that. I would prefer to just hold things off. We've got I've got hotels booked, I've got certain caterers booked, I've got everything lined up, and we've got people who have purchased their tickets already. But I'm saying to people, yeah, there'll be tickets available. Hold off a little bit. Let's not push it. I'll have to extend the early bird when lockdown's up, maybe. Who knows? Okay,
so what I'll do is I'll put a link to the website in the description below this video, as well as the Tango FFS website, Wayne's Facebook page, and also at the end you've got your own YouTube account as well.
I do. I haven't been using that for a while. I must do something with that, because I have got some pretty groovy dance videos to put up that I've recorded and cut. So I should really do some. I've got all this time in lockdown. I should be doing that, but I'm not. Yeah. Okay.
So I'll put a link below that. I also put we can also put the link on the end screen for this video as well. So that will go there. So anybody who's watching this video, please subscribe to Wayne's YouTube channel, like his Facebook page. Are you on other forms of social media such as Twitter and Instagram, or have you not got there yet?
Do you know what? I opened up a Twitter account, never used it. It's just I get reminders every now and then of various tweets, and I just go, I can't be bothered. It's just, there's just so many things. There's only so many things you can maintain sensibly, so I just do it on Facebook.
Well, our Twitter account is just full of pictures of food, and like our last post that's got like the most amount of views was we had brownies and ice cream delivered during this lockdown last Friday. Loads of views and interactions on it, far more than anything we ever do in Tango, but it's interesting to see what gets views, but at the moment we find Facebook is probably the best way to interact with people. So.
Yeah, well, with our generation anyway, I think the Tango generation, if you like, is mostly a Facebook one, some Twitter, but certainly not Snapchats or whatever, Instagram or whatever it is. That's outside of my zone of knowledge. And every now and then my daughter comes up and shows me something off TikTok, and I'm going, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, TikTok is just something we've just started looking into, and I suppose as Tango teachers, we are trying to encourage more people into Tango, and just because what we see in the Tango world, we want to try and bring younger people in. So I think we're right in saying that the Urban Tango Nights teaching team, which is me, Alison, Sarah and Tara, we're probably the youngest teaching team, definitely in the UK, with an average age of something like 29.
Yeah, probably.
Yes, probably. They're probably like couples who might be the same age or younger. That's nothing with all the organisers and teachers within the same club of all of that age. It makes me feel quite old that I'm 32. So, but we're always looking out to try and find how to get sort of the younger people in, which is also something I quite like about the Papa Caliente, that there's people there that you sometimes go along and see who are.
We're super lucky there because of Reading University having started off its Tango community. On the back, because Tango's been taught in Reading for many years by Tom, by Barbara's school and other schools that are there. But from that, the sort of students went, yeah, but we don't want to do it with you bunch of old crusties. So they started their own little club up in the university on a Friday night, and it's gone really successful. I mean, it only needs to start with half a dozen or so people to get enough inertia to then get up to a dozen or so, and then that then carries on, and it builds up more and more people, and they start to go to clubs. So I've always done a full discount for students. Full-time students get a 50% discount. And the great thing about it is that it started to attract some people down from Birmingham as well, that university, because there's another Oxford.
Yeah, Oxford, Warwick and Birmingham, I think, have all got tango clubs.
Yeah, they've all got tango clubs. So that's really good stuff to start promoting it at that age. And it does give a good vibrancy, if you like, to Papa Caliente nights, to have a younger generation in there dancing, not just full of all of us oldies.
Yeah, it's also it was a few years ago now. It must have been about 2016. Over the summer, Swansea has a thing called a Urban Foundry, which runs outdoor markets. So they do one in Uplands, they do one down in the marina, and we went and did and booked a stall out effectively, and just laid some wooden flooring down and just did some dancing. Just spoke to, it was hundreds of people we spoke to, and I was surprised how many people in their sort of 40s and 50s, or even like maybe 30s as well, have actually had a go at tango. They might have done salsa and then gone to a tango salsa. So didn't find it too bad, but it was just the music I didn't like. So things like Papa Caliente is absolutely perfect for that, because there's such a range of music. That the younger generations do like it, and there's no sort of, and also they interact with the older people. So that's again something we've been trying to do with our events, where we have moved to the same sort of general philosophy that you were running with your fleet events, with a third traditional, a third sort of new wave, and a third alternative. Although we structure it differently, because we actually play tandas. So we do a traditional tanda followed by something like a new wave, Milonga tanda, then we have a alternative tango tanda, then we'll have back to the traditional for valse and cycle through that way. But that seems to keep the younger people involved with it, and also has enough familiarity for people who've been doing tango for years, and maybe of the older generation as well. So
no, that works fine. And as we talked about right at the very beginning, the snug area for like the socialization area of having an open bar with someone catering there and putting food and wine and beer out and soft drinks. People come to the area, they sit around it, they stand and they chat, and they interact, and that's part of the night as well. It's not just about dancing, it is a social event. So making that social area is also vital. It's not just about the music, it's the whole feel to the place.
Yeah, that's another thing that's really inspired us. The first time we went to Papa Caliente, it was before we'd run our first Milonga, I think, or it must have been a few Milongas in, if it was anything. And just to have it, again, if you go into it's definitely worth going to Papa Caliente just for the food, because there's a stand, like bar area, I suppose, in the seating area, and there's cheese, there was chips as well, which
I haven't been doing any cooking lately because that's stressful. But but
it was like that sort of atmosphere is what we really took away from it, and just wanted to add to our own events. So we have to give them the credit for that as well. So.
Oh, welcome. Yeah. Well, now I've got two people that work the bar. One permanent, but one that comes occasionally as well. Phil, if he comes in, he does a bit of extra. He wanted to bring some Russian food in the other day. For the next one, it was all lined up to do for the March event, but of course there wasn't one. So maybe May, I'm not so sure, we'll be out of lockdown by then. Hopefully the one in July will run, and the festival in August.
That's probably a good point for us to finish this chat for today. So thank you Wayne, for joining us and discussing all your developments of Voodoo Tango over the past decade or so, or even more, I suppose. And hopefully we'll see you again soon, hopefully in August for the festival.
Yeah, and of course your festival is it going to be December or
It's
November?
November this year because December starts on the Tuesday or the Wednesday. So we'll take our decision in June, looking at what the current states are of how things are going on that. So anyway, thank you for joining me, and
You're welcome.
Make sure, and for all the viewers out there, make sure you like the Tango FFS Facebook page, like this video below, hit the notification icon, and subscribe to our channel for more of these style interviews. And thank you again for watching.